Today I have 3 objectives in mind. I am on the far end of the Rails to Trails from the Fultondale side coming through Mount Olive into Brookside. And I had thought that perhaps elderberry was collectible, but it looks like from my drive in that nothing's quite ready to be snagged. But I also hope to find 3 more railroad spikes. I would like to put a railroad spike at each corner of our property when we move onto it shortly. And I don't have 3 that I'm interested in sticking into the ground yet. Of course, I may change my mind. And also mullein. If I come across some mullein, I would like to take some mullein home today. So we're going to take a bit of a walk together. On the way in, I'm going to pay attention to the right side of the path, mostly paying attention for the spikes, and then on the way out, I will be looking at what will be my right side again on the way back out, but at this point, the left side. So if I see any plants that are worth grabbing, I'll go ahead and go to the other side, but I'm not going to pay super close attention to the ground on the left side. I'll do that on my way back. So this ought to be really nice. So since I'm just getting started, I don't have a really nice camera. I may never have a really nice camera. So stabilization and stuff may be irritating, but so there's a creek down here that I visited last time, which is really interesting because it is like covered in trash. And when I say trash, I mean old trash. Like, I think it's really like right down there. There is a glass Gatorade bottle. I'm pretty sure they don't make those anymore. But I remember drinking out of them in the 90s, maybe? Not sure. Anyway, this side of the path, on the side headed to Brookside going through Mount Olive, is not, to me, not as dynamic as the Fultondale side, simply because there's just not as much. Oh dear, here comes a truck. Better get out of the way. Not everyone pays attention to it, but the rules of Rails to Trails are no motorized vehicles except for the city, and that's the city. So I would assume there was a dead tree or something fell, and we might see that up here in a few minutes. But like I said, this side of the path to me has not been as dynamic because so much of it is more flat. We're gonna get past this section, and it's gonna be kind of flat for a while. And well, you know what? Let's just hop right into the Delulu. And it just feels different to me. It's not as intriguing. So some of that may not have anything to do with the topography and everything to do with the way that it makes me feel. But there was, or is, a large rock on the right coming up here that my daughter and I, years ago, probably about 5 or 6 years ago now, she had COVID or had been exposed to it. I can't even remember at this point. It's like there were so many points that we had to quarantine for either being exposed, for having a child that was exposed, for having a child that had it, for us being around somebody who was exposed, for us having it. It was ridiculous. So this is some of the dynamic, interesting, natural wonder of Mount Olive. It's beautiful. This is just a ridge. Obviously, it's been cut through for what was the railroad, the L&M Railroad, way back in the day. And, I mean, it's beautiful. Before my dad passed away, and that has been a year ago, coming up here in the next couple of weeks, I had gone over to his home to hang out for a few minutes because the little trailhead parking lot was full. And they live right up the road, so I decided to just go over and talk to him for a few minutes, and it was like a week before he passed. And we talked for a little while and told him about finding the railroad spikes and finding mullein and what I do when I go to the woods. I mean, like, he knows, but it was fun to talk about. And he said, man, having one of them railroad spikes must be really cool. I mean, You know, it's been laying there. Lord knows what's, you know, what it's seen, if it could see. My dad loved history. He liked a lot of the Civil War history, and he seemed to enjoy a lot of, like, mafia history from back from the early 20th century kind of stuff. He enjoyed that. So Depression era kind of history. Anyway, so on that day when I finally made it to the trail, and it was funny, right as I started walking, I found an iron spike. And I picked it up, and I was like, well, I'm giving this one to Dad after our conversation we had today. And I gave it to him either the next day or within the next couple of days. And when he passed, I decided that the railroad spike should go with him. So it's down in the ground in the casket with my dad. That was just really important to me. I know that sometimes people have issues with, like, talking about morbid things, but you know, death is 100% a part of life. And the more you make peace with it and can talk about it, I feel like the better you're going to be able to handle it. Either when you come to your time for passing, or someone close to you does. It doesn't make it easier. I don't know if easier is exactly the word, but moving on. So this is the path. It's really pretty. Like I said, and I've already chased a rabbit. We had COVID, or one of us had COVID. I couldn't go to work, and we decided to take a walk out where we weren't around any people, and we came out here, and there's a rock coming up this way that we just kind of walked up on and started looking, and I moved around a couple of pieces and realized it was the rocks and I'm not a geologist, so bear with me, but it had some fossils inside of it. We sat there for a while and just pulled out fossils. It was really fun. This is the little creek bed that you can see. It's been pretty high recently because it's rained so much. It's rained like crazy. We're waiting for our house pad to be built so that our mobile home can be set up on our property, and it has rained so much we're like 2.5 weeks behind schedule, which is disappointing and sad, but we'll be there soon. In fact, these videos, as I'm starting to make them, are going to be some of the last few of Gardendale and Fultondale, Brookside area, Mount Olive area, because we are about to be in Aniana, and that's really what has kind of spurred me on to go ahead and make some of these videos, so that, you know, honestly, one of the main reasons I started watching hiking videos, walking videos, outdoor videos is because of being stuck in the house for COVID, or stuck in the house for, you know, having a baby and not being able to really get out because of one reason or another. And so I think I would like to make some of my own for others to enjoy. And anyway, I don't have a good microphone. Literally all I have right now is a cell phone with me. So if it's not enjoyable to you, scroll on. But anyway, we're headed towards Brookside right now, and I'll update you guys soon on our progress and perhaps what we find. Bikers are encouraged. So it looks like this might be what they were cleaning up, because this looks really messy, like it hasn't really settled yet. Anyway, if you are out and you're looking for things to take out of nature that don't need to be here, when trees pop up like this is a really great place to look, because as you can see already, there's bottles hanging out and trash that was not here when I walked by last time. I am not an expert on finding bottles and stuff in the woods. There are plenty of other YouTubers that do things like that I'm not affiliated with, so just making that clear. These are interesting. That's a Kerr canning jar. Interesting. That looks like an old Sprite bottle, not too old. And again, I'm not an expert, so there's a broken one. But when the ground gets disturbed like this and they pop up, ooh, there's a big old snail. These things pop up and you can kind of just see what you can see, so to speak. Just gonna see if there's anything interesting up here behind the root ball itself, but it looks like most everything is either broken or not super old or interesting. I wish that I had the capacity to drag all the glass out of here so it wouldn't be here anymore, but at the moment I do not. So we're just gonna look around a little bit and then move on. But oh my, there's bunches over here. That one, it's sad, but you know, way back in the day, people didn't really have an understanding of throwing things out, what it really meant to throw garbage out into the woods. They also kind of felt like it's not like you would ever, they thought, you would never like fill up the woods with garbage. That's not going to happen. There's just miles and miles and miles of just wilderness. And now here we are. That looks like a pretty recent baby food bottle, so. And God knows how it got out here. You know, did somebody just dump it? Was there a house out here? This actually looks like, and I have really good boots on, by the way, y'all, so I'm definitely stepping on glass, but now that is an 8-track, and it looks like it was burned. So it looks like somebody probably had a fire out here to get rid of their garbage, perhaps. And so newsflash to anybody who doesn't know, burning plastic's not a good idea. Although, as I said, people didn't really realize that back in the day. I'm going to leave this here and come back for it on the way out, if I can remember. And glass doesn't exactly burn, at least not in a bonfire. So, just in case anybody didn't know that. And y'all, I'm sure I'll get better at walking around with this camera and not being so shaky. But at the moment, this is a little new to me. Also, the stiller you stand, the more bit you get. I just made that up. I'm getting bit by stuff. And mosquitoes love me. I hadn't quite figured out if that's like my blood type or something. I seem to get bit more than the people who are around me when I do have people with me. There's a bunch of glass right here. Somebody just totally dumped all their stuff at some point and like burned it and left it. I'm seeing pieces of metal. I'm not seeing any spikes. That's really my goal. I mean, if I find cool things, I don't know what that is. It feels like it's part of a fence, maybe. Looks like it might be, or was a part of a chain link fence. I wonder if there was a home here. There is another path that's through the woods right here, like across a little hollow. But it's a path. It's not like this. There's no gravel. It wasn't the railroad. This is the railroad bed. That's just like a path, and I don't know if maybe there was a home and this is their garbage. Because I don't feel like all of this would have just been thrown off a train over the years. Like, you know, so I'm actually going to climb up. There's glass. If you're not wearing like boots, don't do stuff like this. It would be so dangerous. Especially without anybody. If you're like alone, you don't want to like slice your foot open and bleed out and die. I don't know if you bleed out and die from slicing your foot, but you could. I mean, it sounds like an option. So that other path is like literally right there. Like right there. Bunch of bottles. Not anything super interesting, just glass that shouldn't be here. But I happen to love looking at junk. Like, I wish that it wasn't here. But since it is here, let's look at it. It's things like this that will be my undoing. Because I can guarantee you that, well, I don't know. Could be more than a game trail. But I'd really like to follow it. I don't have a reason except that I haven't done this before. I mean, I've done this before. But I haven't been down this little trail before. So I just want to see what it's about. Could be a game trail. But I don't know. Seems a little... It could be somebody's path from their house down here, though, that people will do that. So I don't want to be, if I find out, I could look on my Google Maps and see, but I think we'll just follow it. I think this is more than a game trail. It's pretty, though. These mosquitoes are killing me today. I'm going to have to scrub when I get home and hope that I don't continue to itch for God knows how long. Oh yeah, I think that's a bit more than a game trail. Now some of these are like the bigger ones, and I'll go back because it's getting a little more mosquito-y, and I'm just not into that today. I usually am. I want to just tell you, I will go off trail and get lost. I love to get lost, actually, because I can always pick up my phone and figure out where I am. But these mosquitoes are just, I'm not in the mood to get more bites today. So, but I will keep this on my radar, and we'll come back and perhaps do this at a different time when I don't. And my objectives are not going to be out there. My objectives are on this trail. So I'll just head back to the main rail bed trail. This is the milepost. I'm going to stand here still for just a minute to show y'all this, but these mosquitoes are killing me. This is the milepost. The concrete post nearby was a milepost that historically had a number on it that let the train engineer know where he was along the tracks. Also, the time it took to travel between two posts enabled the engineer to calculate the speed. Pretty cool. There's quite a few of these out here. So for anybody who's interested, this is the 5 Mile Creek Greenway. Lots of information along the way when you come up to actual roads, so it's pretty easy to navigate. This is where I come mostly because it's near where I live right now. I don't have to drive far at all to just get to a trailhead and walk, which is very, very nice since I love to be in the woods, and this is an easy way to do it where I don't have to take a whole day, although I have taken a whole day out here before. Like I said, I like to go off trail as often as I can or feel comfortable doing. So anyway, this is the entrance right here where I can't remember the name of this road, so we're gonna go find out because I can't remember. It looks like someone has done some trash pickup, which is wonderful. Sometimes I try to do that when I have space in my backpack. There's not a UR. Is there a UR here? So Center Point, that's where my husband grew up. I grew up in Gardendale, which is close to where we are right now. There's a U. We are right there. Gardendale is here. Fultondale is there. We're actually headed this direction towards Brookside. Look, they've even got QR codes now. Woohoo! That's so cool. I just wanted to say that I'm not trying to be anonymous. I just don't really like my face on the camera. It bothers me for whatever reason. Maybe because I'm looking at myself while I'm doing it. But I want to look at myself while I'm doing it so I can see what I'm looking like, but I don't like seeing it. Does anybody feel that way? I just wanted to tell a little bit of a story as we're walking, though. I grew up hunting, so I'm really into antlers, deer skin, you know, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. If it does you, move on, please. I don't like to get into arguments with people about hunting. I always eat what I kill, and very often use the rest of what is left. I have made bone jewelry, antler jewelry, fur jewelry, things like that before. Jewelry is like my thing. I love to make it. Jewelry, and also just things to look at. Curio cabinet type things. Anyway, there was one day that I was walking the rails to trails, and it was way back in that direction in Fultondale. And I think about finding things in the woods a lot. I mean, you know, whether it's a manifestation thing or just, I think I just really like to think about the idea of finding certain things in the woods. And I have found a couple of deer sheds before. And if you're not familiar with what a deer shed is, it's just an antler that the white-tailed deer shed, usually in the woods, just, you know, at random when it's time for them to fall off, they'll just fall off. And I have found a couple before, but they have been old, like old, gnawed upon, not pretty, but, you know, cool to have, but not pretty. And so I'm always kind of thinking about finding those things. So when I went into the woods that one day, I was trying to decide if I should go to the right or go to the left trail. And as I came upon the little fork where I really just needed to make a decision on where to go and walk for the day, I heard in my head, now this is where you're going to think, well, she's Delulu, and that's fine. You can think that. We're not going to get into argument about it. I heard in my head, there is something for you this way. And that was when I was just looking to the right. And I felt just the energy in my body wants to go to the right of the trail. So I did. You go up a hill and kind of over into a flat ridge. And I did. And as I got to the top of the ridge, I always like to look down to the left because it's just kind of a open hardwood forest, not a lot of bramble. You can see the ground, you know. I looked over into that area, and I'm not kidding, there was an antler. Only one. It's totally fine. You're rarely going to find two in the same general area. And I was in shock. It was beautiful. Looked like it had been knocked off the deer 5 seconds before I walked over. And of course I still have it. Not sure what I'll do with it. It's just kind of sitting in a prominent space in our bedroom right now, and when we move it needs to have some sort of nice display. We'll see, but just kind of a cool experience because I definitely didn't have to walk up that trail, but I felt a draw to do it, and that just fascinates me. Here we have a whole bunch of stagnant water down there. You can probably see the reflection of the sky at least. Still looking for any sort of railroad spikes, and I am not having any luck. I'm sure if I, brought a shovel and a rake and started raking stuff away, but, I'm not going to do all that mess. It's kind of swampy. Swampy. I enjoy just kind of looking, even if I don't get anything or find anything to bring home, or even get any of the herbs I'm looking for. It's just nice to be out here. Around this area, you will get to homes. So there are homes on the left, which is why I'm not going to pan to the left. That's going to be a little bit of a breach of privacy. So we're going to look to the right and down the trail for a little bit. There's a lot of swampy area down there. We're also very close to the road, which you can hear. So anyway, that's an update. So I just thought I would show you what we're looking for and how tough it is to spot. So I'm not pointing at it yet. We've been looking on this end of the road. Do you see the railroad spike? If you see it, congratulations. It's right here. It's a bent one. Totally fine though, for what I'm using it for. Pretty cool actually that it's bent. So there it is. There's one. In the least, I'd like to get another today, or another soon. 2 more would be excellent, because I can't remember if I have another in storage, and I need 4. So there you have it. I just kind of pulled that out from under the rocks. That's what I'm talking about with the J. Somebody could probably tell me exactly what it's called. I don't know exactly what it's called, but there you go. All right, do you see it? There it is. Number 2 today. While I'm headed back. 2 more. Laying right together. This is awesome. Really cool. Hello! You get to see my face for a moment. I just wanted to show you the bottles that I did bring home. And I moved the ones that are from a different time, and just the 3 that I got today. So you saw the spikes, but I also brought these home. They're not perfectly clean yet, but useful. There's the cur, all cleaned up. And this one, I don't know what it was. It says something on the bottom, peanuttiest, so maybe some sort of peanut butter, but it has some measuring marks, so it goes up to a cup. I thought that was pretty cool, so keeping it free. This is what I really, really love about going out into the woods, is taking the things out that aren't supposed to be there, and when they can serve a purpose, that's great. When they can't, they can go to the garbage. Either way, it is one of my favorite things to do. So, thanks for watching my first video. Okay, I also realize that I don't sound like myself because I have been trying to enunciate so good. I'm going to go back to my original Southern drawl. So, don't call me a poser. This is actually the way that I talk. Anyway, there's the bottles from today. And I hope to see y'all again soon. Bye.